There you go.
Little deal. Okay.
So welcome back to Colin's dealio of podcasting.
It's not really podcasting.
Oh, whatever it is.
It's just, I guess you could say it somewhat is. It's kind of more of a video podcast or whatever.
Video podcast. Video podcast. Here, hold on. Let me turn down the video. So, the TV. So, you keep going ahead talking.
Oh, I don't even know where to begin on this.
Let's talk about your horrible season.
Well, first I have a lapse or big gap in videos due to hunting season, family,
Come here.
getting in the way.
Come here. You want to be on Colin's video podcast?
I don't know.
My boy walked in. So, and he's going to come and sit with us, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, you can sit right there. He probably won't be in the video because he's probably going to be a little... Do you want to say hi?
Bye.
No, you want to say hi. Come here. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Okay. So...
Yeah, just things got in the way with trying to get them done between deer hunting and everything else. And just as Mason mentioned, a few of us had quite a horrible deer season, so that you can kind of say this is a recap and on our seasons and kind of what's going to be moving forward later on. Hint, with moving forward on stuff.
Hint. You mean my molds? My bait making? For fishing? What are you talking about?
It's okay. It's okay.
You pointed up here, so are you talking about that?
Again, it's okay.
Oh, alright.
You're
Whatever.
precious. You're precious.
Yep.
So, anyways, my recap of deer season was started off good. I didn't get my son his first deer. He did get to shoot, but missed. I did end up filling one or two out of my 3 deer tags I had. Ended up shooting I thought was a medium-sized doe during second season shotgun, but ended up being a very large-bodied button buck. And during bow season, I shot a doe. Yeah, I shoot a bow. I shot a doe about the end of October, and from then until about the end of November, I was on the struggle bus really hard. It was. How do I go about explaining this? Because, when you're a bow hunter, you're going to end up wounding a deer. It happens. The freak things happen. I had it happen twice to me. Once during the rut, and once after shotgun. Or no, it was before shotgun. It was the month of November. It was just absolutely horrible. And I didn't pick up a bow after that because of how bad I felt. My first incident was first weekend of November. prime time. Sitting in a stand 9 feet off the ground, everybody's like, oh, you gotta be high, you gotta be high. No, you don't, not when you have the right setup. He can vouch for me, you know, don't have to be high.
Sorry.
We're doing this and he's gotta be on his phone.
Of course. So go ahead.
But
I think
anyways,
they're up, bud.
Okay.
Go ahead up.
I was out deer hunting with our good friend Jordan from Retopia, and just before before walking in, I noticed I had to switch releases. It's a release I've shot tournaments with. I'm confident with using it and shooting deer out to 40 yards. I don't like shooting deer past that. And it's a Carter thumb button release. So anyways, as we're at the truck getting ready to walk in, we're getting ready for an evening hunt, and Jordan's going to go to one side of Jordan's heading north and I'm heading east on this property. I made the remark, hey, now watch. I said, we're going to have something to talk about. I said, either we're both going to miss or we're both going to shoot the biggest deer that we've ever shot with a bow and arrow tonight because of me switching releases. And little did I know that's exactly what was going to happen. He got into the stand, I got into my stand. We do what friends do. We start sending memes back and forth to each other, texting, hey, what's your plans for tomorrow, that sort of thing, And about the last 45 minutes to an hour left of actual hunting, had this small buck walk behind me, so I start videoing him, and he's walking. He walks 5 feet from the tree, almost directly underneath me. Not a care in the world. Came in, my wind was blowing to him. Not a care in the world, and I'm sitting there watching him, and I knew it was getting close to the rut, so I wanted to test the waters, so I sat there, I let him get out a little ways just to where I could just barely see him, and then I'd grunt, and he'd stop and he'd just look around, and I'm like, oh, cool, and I'd grunt again, and then I thought I heard him grunt. Lo and behold, I was wrong. And he turns and he's not looking at me, but he is at full alert, looking to my right and down. And he's not having it. And I'm like, what the hell's going on, So I keep messing with him. I'm not paying attention to what's going on in front of me, which, mistake number one, not paying attention to what's going on. 360. I focused on him. And so then I'm dinking with him, grunting at him, and then he's grunting back, and then I hear faint grunt, so I think it's him just, I'm zoomed in on just him, not thinking that there's other deer around me. And he kind of just starts walking away. I'm like, something ain't right. I slowly start turning, just thinking, okay, maybe there's another deer somewhere out in this big field because I'm on a field edge. I turn and look. 30 yards in front of me, there is a big 9-point. 140, 150 inch 9-point. 30 yards, and he starts coming right to me. So I'm doing one of these numbers in my tree, trying to grab my bow, and this deer has no clue. And he's coming beelining right to me. And about 20 yards to my left, there's a great big huge community scrape. Mason knows all about this scrape. They hit it every year. And that's normally our indication is when that scrape appears, we know that the rut's close by.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing's getting hit numerous times. And he's making a beeline right for it, coming in broadside I mean, he's 15 yards in front of me. And not a care in the world. I get my bow around, I pull my release out, I get it on, I'm sitting there fighting it, because I'm all excited, I'm not gonna lie, I was excited. And I'm like, okay, I gotta calm down. If I want to make this shot and everything, I'm like, okay. I see this branch to where he's heading. I was like, I gotta stop him before that branch. I was like, I normally, you can ask him, I normally don't ever stop deer anymore by doing the famous meh. No. I highly recommend never doing that because of what is about to happen. So I'm locked, loaded in my tree, ready to go. He comes, I see that branch, and I panic. Mistake number 2. And draw back, I settle in, I'm good, and I go, meh, and I hit it. I see my arrow go, and as my arrow is in mid-flight, that damn thing turns, and I dead center, front left shoulder, just whop. And I'm like, oh, I couldn't believe it. But then I saw him take off, and he stops in the field, and I was like, oh, I'm thinking I got enough penetration to kill this deer. And this field is what, 200 we know it's 250 yards wide, and at one point it's like 220 to 280 yards in length, and I'm in the part where it's a little bit longer.
It's almost the 3-acre field.
Yeah, just about. And he gets out to the center and he stops, and I see him kind of wobble. I'm like, I did it, I'm like, I killed a deer. I'm getting all excited, so I call and say, hey, I think I just shot the biggest buck of my life. I'm got eyes on him. He's 150, 180 yards in front of me, though. So I'm watching him. Well, he kind of gets all stiff-legged, wobbles, stops, licks the arrow, wobbles, stops. And, I mean, I'm watching this deer a good 20 minutes. And I'm like, the longer he's in this field on his feet, I'm like, this isn't good. This is not good. And I'm just hoping that my arrow in there, I'm shooting a fixed blade broadhead. I was shooting 58 pounds, micro diameter arrows. Everything was to specs. I had about 15 to 18% FOC, which is front of center sort of deal. I did all that. Bulbs tuned perfectly, and I can see that arrow, but every time he would wobble, that arrow's not really moving. So I was like, I know that's in his shoulder, and I had to have hit the thickest part of it. But anyways, he gets to the field edge, and I'm sitting there watching him, and he's just standing there, and all of a sudden I see him try to jump. And then I see his legs come out from underneath of him, and it looks like he jumped and just fell down. And I was like, oh, great. He's going to be laying dead right there, because I could see part of the timber, and I can't see him anywhere from where he disappeared. So I'm thinking, he's laying dead. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to back out. I go to look at where I hit him. Just a little bit of blood. And I'm like, okay, I know. So I just walked back, waited for help. My dad, a few other people came. I gave Dingleberry here the heads up on what had happened. He wasn't able to come and help track due to family deals going on.
And plus, I live, half hour from you?
Yeah. So, and by the time I called him, it was almost dark. Anyways, but so I got the posse all rounded up. It's me, it's Jordan, my dad, and my wife's cousin. We're all out there, and another good friend of ours that hunts the property. We're all out there. We're looking, and it's a drop here, a drop here. Here's a couple of drops.
Did you even find your arrow?
where he jumped is where the arrow broke, and we found it. And with measuring it from from without the knock, so from end of arrow to where it busted off, I had about 5.5 inches of my arrow in him, but I had blood 9 inches up the arrow. So that tells me it either hit and ricocheted, or it hit and it was just back spray onto the arrow, and it didn't do a damn bit of good. So we tracked and tracked and tracked. We were out there 3 hours, and we let this deer set, quite a while, and found nothing. We realized how far we had gone. We're like, okay, we're not going to push. We're going to back out before the rain front comes in. The following day, we're going to come out. We're going to, do some more checking. So I went to work the next day. Lo and behold, go back out there after work. Got 2.5 hours of good daylight out there, and nothing. Couldn't find nothing. Went back. My wife's cousin knows the landowner pretty well. Come to find out, he's like, let us know if you see this deer, whatever. A few days later, I got the deal knowing, hey, deer's still alive, nothing to really worry about. So I'm like, oh, okay. He's just going to have a hurt shoulder. So no worries there. So I'm like, okay. I practiced. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to, worst case scenario, if that's going to happen again, I was shooting the Matthews at the time. I'm going to switch my mods out, and I'm going to put my 72-pound mods in. That's what my bow's at with the 70-pound mod, because the custom strings I had on it, it's roughly right around 72, 73 pounds. And I'm like, okay, if that happens again, I'm going to get a little bit more penetration and hopefully kill, worst case scenario. Well, a couple weeks go by, and hunting the farm directly north of where I hit that big 9-point, and it's early morning, and I throw out some doe bleats. Deer comes in, realize it's a buck. I'm like, no, not one I want to shoot. He's one of our good up and coming deer. So I'm like, well, okay. Morning's looking pretty good. So then I'm like, okay, I know there's deer moving around. I can hear them. And right at, this is first light, 6:30, 6:40 time frame. And so I'm like, okay, I'm seeing deer. I throw out a few more bleats, and I'm like, okay, what's coming now? Because I could hear the crunch. I'm like, all right, I turn and look, and this deer's a lot bigger body, and I'm like, oh, it's one of my big ones. Here he comes. Starts coming in, starting to take the same path. I bleat. He gets to a Y in the trail, takes the one that brings him in front of me at 30 yards. He stops. Naturally, I'm like, oh, here we go. I drew back, released my arrow, had good flight, everything, and I hear the notorious whop again. And I noticed, and I'm like, oh no. But I'm like, okay. I could see my arrow. I was shooting a lighted knock with that one, and I had gotten a lot more penetration. I'm like, oh, awesome. So I watched the deer run into this waterway. He comes out, stops, and this deer wobbles hard. And I'm like, oh, done deal. I'm not second guessing myself on this one, and I hear crash, 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 and I'm like, done deal. Yes, I'm going to tag out, I call my wife's cousin. He's hunting with me, and he's directly 200 yards in front of me, which is south. And he's like, yeah, I heard. And I was like, well, I just bit the big one, And he's like, all right, cool, And then I was like, well, we got to sit a little bit. I was just, I want to make sure on this one. And he's like, yep, I understand. And all of a sudden, I'm off the phone with him. I'm packing stuff up, taking my time, being quiet, Next thing I know, I get a text message. All hell broke loose behind me, big buck. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm thinking my deer's dead 80 yards to the right of me. I'm not thinking that it's the same damn deer. So he's like, well, I'm going to sneak over. He's like, if you think your deer's dead, we need to go over and, we're going to do all that. I'm like, yeah, okay. He comes over, we climb down, I show him where I hit, instant blood. And it's a good blood trail. And he's like, oh yeah, this, we're not second guessing. We're at a good space, walk, we're barely stopping, because we got a good trail. So we get over to where I heard the crashing, and there's blood all over. It's like somebody took, busted open a small little paint can and just threw it around. There was blood all over. We're like, well, where is he? And we're looking, and this deer, our thrashing and everything was, well, it was him circling inside there. And we noticed that hence there's blood all over in this little thicket where I heard all the crashing. It was him running. And we find out he kind of backtrails and goes. We start tracking. Lo and behold, the buck that he had heard and saw a glimpse of was the deer that I had shot. And we tracked this deer once we realized that, we waited a couple hours. We just stopped. We're going to wait a couple hours. We probably bumped him. We're going to, we've got good blood. He's going to be dead. That is so annoying. But lo and behold, we start tracking, and then we come to find out no Yahtzee. We lose blood altogether. And I'm really kicking myself. This is deer number 2. And I had to break it to that landowner, hey, I had shot one, we, don't think anything's, gonna happen. Never had my arrow, none of that. So then come to find out, 2 weeks later rolls by, I don't go deer. I didn't go first season shotgun. Like I said, I went second season. Come to find out, 3 of my bucks had gotten shot. The one I had hit, another one that we called Mr. Krabs had got shot, and then our good up and coming 9-point had gotten shot off of this one small property, and the one that I had hit had gotten shot. Like I said, this is 2 weeks later. Come to find out, deer was still good. There was no infection. At some point in that 2-week time frame, the arrow had busted off a little bit. But what had happened is my arrow had deflected and instead of hitting this deer broadside, the arrow came in this way and hit that front shoulder and just stayed right above the rib cage. So went after that. I did not pick up my bow. I was like, wounding 2 deer, I'm done. I'm not going to risk trying to wound a third. I went out shotgun hunting. Didn't really see much opening day. We had an ice storm. We ended up seeing some. Not as many as what we thought we would, but we saw a few. And I got a shot off at a good one. Ended up hitting a tree, clean miss, saw bark and everything fly. Even went over, double check. No blood, no hair, no nothing. Deer was fine, clean miss. Following day, I was like, hey, first decent body deer comes by, I'm dropping the hammer, you know. And like I said, I thought it was a good medium-sized doe, you know, 1.5, 2-year-old doe. And like I said, ended up being a button buck. It was in the timber. It was the first 10 minutes of shooting light, so I couldn't really see. And 60 yards, boom, ran 40 yards, was piled up, no issue. And then just hung her up and called it a season. But with my bad luck, somebody sitting next to me.
I got mine during muzzleloader. That was it. And then I missed one during bow. A little basket rack.
Why don't you explain your miss and everything, and go a little bit into detail. Give us a little backstory on this deer season.
Well, he told me to go to this one spot. And I got up in the stand. We call it the poop stand.
Now,
Yep. Because the time before that,
nature called.
nature called and I really needed to go.
Somebody had a really
Yep.
tell me.
Yep. And so then I climbed down out of the stand and went next to it.
Sacrificed the glove.
Yep, sacrificed the glove.
We've all been there.
Yep. And so now that tree is deemed the poop tree for quite a while.
Yep.
And didn't see anything that day, just mainly probably because of that reasoning. But then the following week went back to that same stand, climbed up in it.
I ended up being the only one that saw deer that morning.
No, you were the one that saw this deer that came across the field. It went straight.
Oh
towards
yeah,
me.
it was that
Yeah.
morning. That morning, yep.
Yep.
I get.
Yep.
Yep.
And so he came over and he was coming right next to me in the stand. I had to turn and face the tree in order to get a shot off, and I shot below. Clean miss. And that was it for that.
What about your little mishap during early muzzleloader with our good friend Jordan? Explain that one. I mean, this deer was 8 yards.
I don't.
8 yards.
I have no idea.
8 yards.
Yeah, and I totally clean missed this doe. Just because I didn't have the bullet seated all the way down.
And I will say that I was hunting with them. I was on the north side. It was the first half hour of opening day of early muzzleloader. He had a doe tag and a buck or statewide any sex tag. And I hear this. I knew it was a gunshot. It just that wasn't that boom that a muzzleloader does. It was kind of off. And I'm like, well, okay, well, you know, got a dead deer, you know.
I saw smoke and fire. You're not supposed to see smoke and fire.
Oh, well, you're supposed to see smoke.
Yeah, you're supposed to see smoke, but you're not supposed to see both at the same time.
No, you're not.
Yeah, no.
Good indication bullet wasn't seated right.
Yep.
But in all honesty, 8 yards though, still.
I don't know. It probably went out. The bullet probably went off the La La Land.
Well, it definitely went off the La La Land somewhere, somehow.
So, and
We did search long and hard to make sure that it was an absolute clean mess.
oh, it was a clean mess. It was definitely a clean mess. And then, what was it? The following day, in the afternoon,
Yep, it was that following day. Yep, opening weekend.
and went to a different spot.
Yep.
Sat down in the waterway, and a buck came down the ridge, off the ridge, down to the water to drink. And, well, I was sitting kind of goofy when I
Right.
aimed
And you aimed.
too low. Way too low. I aimed way too low. And I was thinking, like bow, not for gun, when aiming for this one, and got brisket. But the funny thing was, there was good blood right where I shot him, but then it petered out to nothing. Pretty much pin drops.
And then it was nothing
Nothing,
within
yeah.
30 yards.
Yep.
I mean, I've had worse bloody noses than what this deer bled.
Yep. And so that deer is probably still living.
Still is. I can concur he is still alive to this day because it is the only one that has a spot about that big
Mm-hmm.
right next to his leg where it's missing hair.
Yep. And then following weekend, had me go sit up in this one tree.
Our old food plot.
Yep. And I was sitting there. You were telling me to keep an eye in the back. And
we weren't in the tree. Neither one of us were in the tree more than 10 minutes, and we had deer walking around us. I mean, we're 50 yards apart hunting 2 different exit trails, and I can see him, but he can't see me because I'm in the thick part. He's on the edge,
Mhm.
and I can see deer just all over, and they're heading his way. They're coming my way.
Yep. And
All I'm doing is be ready, be ready.
and you're like, don't shoot me, don't shoot me.
Yep.
Yeah.
'Cause I mean, I'm only 10, 11 feet off the ground, but I'm in a valley, and if there was a couple of times these different bucks kept cutting right in between us, and I'd text, don't shoot.
Yeah.
Well, I know that this guy's never going to shoot, but I know that when he gets excited, he might think, oh, there's enough, maybe I'll just sneak one off, and hence the reasoning why,
Yeah.
cautiously,
And
don't shoot.
in the middle of this whole thing, my contact fell out of my eye, and my right eye, my dominant eye, for aiming, and it's my worst eye. Contact fell out. I was trying to put it back in. Contact broke because I got to wear these hard perm contact lenses, and they're pretty much plastic. They're not like the soft ones where you can bend and flex and all this stuff. And so I'm like, well, all right. So I went and looked down the scope, and I'm like, I can still see through this. And because I can mess with the zoom and the clarification of it. And, well, after a while of standing there in that stupid stand, it is very, very hard to stand in that stand, by the way.
It was meant to be shot with a bow sitting down
Yeah.
into the old food plot,
And
not
having to,
behind.
yeah, well, that's where the deer came, was from behind.
Right.
And 3 deer came out from behind me, behind a cedar tree. And I stood back up, swung the gun around, and the first one that was in the first of that group, that was the one I took. I said I had enough. and
Scared to
dropped this
live.
one.
No deer were around. I'm like, I just text, "What's going on?" No reply. No reply. I'm like, "Oh, maybe he's seeing deer." I'm not paying attention. I hear kaboom! I jump out of the, damn near fell out of the tram. Like, Jesus! And I was like, "Is it dead?" Text. Yeah, I got one. And I'm like, sweet.
So, yeah, dropped that deer right in its spot, and that's it.
And then as we're walking back to get trucked, our friend Jordan was hunting with us on the same property out on a field edge about a quarter mile away. And as we're walking back, we hear boom, and we're like, "Oh crap, we got two!" And because his daughter does not miss with when she shoots. I mean, she is awesome. And she ended up putting down a good management deer. Mason's was a good management one. Mason shot his at about 50 yards. She shot hers at about 150 yards.
Yep.
And he's in his upper 30s. She's 11.
Mm-hmm.
So,
She has good eyesight, though.
man, she still got that eagle eye eyesight.
Yeah.
Kid.
For me, I got to have my eye surgery in 2 weeks. So,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much what confirmed me of, like, pretty much I'm done bow hunting until I can probably figure out a way to carry crossbow, because the eye surgery that I have is to stop the progression of what I have, not fix it. And so it's just gonna totally stop it, slow it down, and not fix my eyesight to where I could have 20/20.
I mean, at some point, this thing could actually make you,
Yeah, go blind.
I mean, in a short amount of time.
Yep. So, and
About the only way you can gun hunt is as long as the gun has a
scope.
scope
Yep.
on it.
Yep. And that's where I'm hoping that they would let me to use a crossbow, because it has a scope on it. Granted, and even though people say, "Oh, crossbow is just a
And
easy form of bow,"
we're gonna get into that too, and we're really gonna ruffle feathers in
Yeah.
the
it's
archery
it's
world
not
with that.
easier. It's not any easier than a vertical bow, although you do have a scope and a faster shooting bow.
To a degree. Only to a degree.
Yeah.
And I can concur on this, and like I said, it'll be in another video that we end up doing down the road, talking about crossbows and stuff. And like I said, we're gonna ruffle some feathers on it, and it's gonna be in the form of why crossbows should
Be legal.
be allowed to be used during the regular archery season, and not
And during
season.
youth.
Yes, and during youth, instead of some people pushing they should be illegal altogether or whatever. No, no. Like I said, we're gonna ruffle feathers because we're pro crossbow for anybody.
Yeah. So I got to go talk to the doctor, see if you can't get me approved for the handicap deal. But the only thing is that I see in the law is it has to be a physical form of handicap, like breathing, or can't walk further than 200 yards, walking, can't pull a bow back, stuff like that. It has nothing to do with eyesight.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
You need eyesight to be able
Yeah.
to shoot a vertical bow.
Yeah.
I mean, you need eyesight to shoot a crossbow. You need
Yeah.
should rank right up there, but
Yeah. But
thanks, Iowa.
yeah, but for the weird thing is, though, you can't have any clarifiers or magnifiers on a vertical bow. But with a crossbow, it has a scope with a magnifier and a clarifier.
Hence a scope.
Yeah. Explain that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
can plant food plots, but you can't bait deer.
Yep.
Let me say that again. You can plant a food plot for deer,
Yep.
but you can't bait deer.
Mm.
99% of the people in Iowa that plant a food plot is only for deer.
Yep.
It is a form of baiting,
Yep.
technically,
Mm-hmm.
but that's legal and baiting isn't.
Yep.
That's how dumb Iowa's laws are.
Yep.
We'll get into that too.
Oh, in Iowa now you can have an unlimited amount of tannerite. They legalized that.
Yeah,
You can have
let's really get our hillbilly friends all excited now.
You can buy as much tannerite as you can. There used to be a limit on it, but now,
Yeah, and there's a lot of people on YouTube that are talking about this, but you know, we're going to be hearing explosions all throughout the state because everybody's like, "Ooh, what can we blow up with this?"
yep,
You know, granted, there's going to be some rednecks in the state of Iowa that are going to be like, "I'm going to go buy $4,000 worth of this stuff.
mm-hmm.
I'm going to pack it into a car. Let's see how high we can throw a car in the air."
Yep.
Guarantee it. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody may get killed doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But Iowa wanted to legalize that.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
I
But
want.
that's all stuff for another video.
Yeah, Iowa wanted to legalize fireworks. Now we have a lot of reports of people with missing fingers.
Oh, with the tannerite deer, we're gonna see people missing ligaments. Oh, my arm got blown off. It was fun, though. You should have seen it.
Yep.
You're gonna hear stories like that here in the near future coming out of Iowa.
Yep.
Thank you, Kim Reynolds.
Yeah.
But
And-
yeah, that's kind of what we're gonna do. It's most of this is. I mean, this isn't gonna be your typical deal on YouTube. We hope it's informative.
Mm-hmm.
We hope it's somewhat entertaining because you get me and Mason going. I mean, it can be fun to watch. Our wives say that we're boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife deal. I mean, oh, you talking to your girlfriend? And yeah.
Wife called you my girlfriend last night.
Yeah, I know. I heard her. Oh, you talking to your girlfriend again, huh? Yeah. We've known each other for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the friendship for life. Not very many people like him come around. Not many people like me. Our inner circles are very, very tight, very enclosed, very small,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a friendship that everybody needs to have.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll bicker. We're gonna have fun.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna disagree on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He knows things that I don't know. I know things that he don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and we're always gonna agree to disagree to an extent. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some things that I just know,
Yeah.
and he'll be like, "Yes,"
Yep.
and we'll
Yep. Butt heads.
just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
But
But for this year, I'm only gonna go shotgun hunting, and that's it. Because of my eyesight, because I got to get one eye done, and
yeah,
then
you're
later
missing
on,
out on turkey season this year, Toby.
and later on down the road, I got to get my other eye done, which we don't know when that will be scheduled. And well, you got to find a good spot now for turkey season. We lost our turkey spot.
I ain't no spots.
I am not walking that 1.5 miles to the river through the public.
We're not. No.
I'm not walking that again. Fat man don't like walking.
I'm a big man too, but I can walk. But anyways, no, I've got spots to. I mean, if he really wants to go, he knows all he's got to do is go buy his crap, and he knows that I'm going to be able to put him on birds.
Yeah.
He knows that.
Mm-hmm.
He may not like the spots. Might give him the heebie-jeebies. Might not.
Mhm.
I mean, we could talk. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so pretty much what I'm doing now is just going to be a whole lot of fishing this year.
Hence, you can see right
Yeah, behind me, all bait, lure, jig,
Here, hold
sinker,
on.
molds.
This is only part of them.
Yep. Bait, lure, sinker, molds. And then I have
That's
soft
only
baits.
part of this stuff, guys.
I have a bunch of soft bait molds over there. Yeah. And
Yeah. Top shelf, middle shelf, bottom shelf,
yep.
all full. And like I
Yeah.
said, look at that rack right there.
Mm-hmm.
Everything there. The
Oh,
stuff
that ain't
behind
counting.
him.
That ain't counting the molds that I have here.
Yeah, that's. I mean, the guy used to work for the company. His dad still does.
Yep. So these are all just number 2 molds that we could not sell at the time because there was some little itty bitty defect and we couldn't send that out. So I'm like, well, screw it, I'll take it. Fish don't care. And so I'm doing a whole lot of fishing this year and gonna be selling selling the baits, doing
So if you
videos.
guys
Yep.
like, subscribe, follow, notification bell sort of thing. This summer, maybe around the 4th of July,
Mhm.
we might figure out a way to randomly pick somebody or 2 or 3 and
Receive some free baits.
or lures or
Yeah.
whatever, just for as a thank you.
Yep.
And definitely, if you want information on it, just comment on this video. You can sit there and say, hey, you guys suck, you don't know what you're doing. Hey, all right, cool, whatever. You can sit there and say, hey, I like it. That's great too.
Yeah.
But if you comment, anybody that comments something nice
Mhm.
or respectful, I mean, there's going to be haters. I know it. But as long as it's respectful and everything else, and you share it,
Yeah.
and we see our numbers go up on either this with me or on his, like I said, we'll definitely reward you guys one way or another. He also does some deer calls.
Deer calls, turkey calls. I probably won't be going into duck calls until I know what the hell I'm doing.
We're going to toy around with that too.
Yeah.
Before we do it, this is all stuff that we've kind of toyed around with. Last turkey season, we toyed around with the turkey calls. We know, hey, okay, yep, this stuff's going to work.
Yep.
We can go that route.
And the deer that he called in was the calls that
Every
I
every
made.
ground call I used was what he did.
Yep. But that was pretty much it. But he said the slate call that I made was probably the best call that he's ever used.
It, hands down.
Yep.
I mean, it is.
Yep.
It's the way that he was able to format it a little bit and make his own little special modifications. The amount of turkeys we were able to call. It's the sound. I wish I had one with me. I've got it put up. The clarity, the sharpness it's unreal. It really is. It's better. I mean, not knocking on Primos or any of the other guys, H&S, not knocking them.
Quaker
But-
Boy.
Yeah, it's just when comparing all of them together, I mean, it could be a blind deal, nothing.
I still got to cut the striker down, but
Yeah, but I mean,
that's the same exact one that I gave him.
and I mean, like I said, he's got to modify it, but I mean, it's when you hear a hen, I mean, you can't. I'm just not really trying, this is crisp. I mean, this video ain't gonna do it justice, but you can make really crisp, clean cuts, purrs, and
all it is just slate over glass and the glass soundboard with a walnut pot. And so I was messing around with that, and
Like I said, he did his own little modifications to it. It's a kit,
Mhm.
but he put his own little touches to it. I mean, you could buy the kit and just say, "Oh, put it together and use it." Yeah, great. He did his own little modifications,
yeah,
and what he does, it is. They are crisp. They are clean. Our good buddy Jordan. At some point, we got to get him on this. At some point, he's a big turkey nut. I mean, I'm big deer. He's big into fishing. Jordan eats, sleeps, breathes turkey hunting. I mean, you give him the option of, hey, let's go on a big whitetail deer hunt or a turkey hunt. He is taking the turkey hunt every time.
I'll take the turkey hunting every time too.
Shut up. I like chasing four-legged critters. The hell with the birds.
I like the birds.
I don't.
I like the birds, and I like the fish.
flipping birds the bird.
I like the bird. I like turkey hunting and fishing. But now you asked me to go on a deer hunt or a pheasant hunt. I'm gonna go pick the deer hunt. Fuck the pheasants. I hate pheasant hunting. Hate it.
You don't know what he's missing. But anyways,
I absolutely hate it. Pheasant hunting, ridiculous, dumb. Dumb.
okay.
Turkey hunting, far better.
I mean, if you had made me choose between turkey and pheasant, I'm going to take pheasant
No.
every time.
No. Now, if it was walleye, crappie, and turkey, I'd say put them together.
That's a hard combo. That's a good combo. That's a good combo to do. But
go put them together. You got turkey hunt in the morning. After turkey hunting, go walleye fishing,
and then if
and
you don't
then
get
crappie fishing.
and if you don't kill your turkey in the morning, go kill it in the evening. Yeah, we could be away from our wives.
Way too long.
Oh yes. But just a little snippet, like I said, in my other videos, I'm talking broadheads, tuning, preparation, that sort of thing. Like I said, we're not going to really film our hunts because I think there's enough of that already out there of, average people doing it. And it's just something we don't really want to do per se, because we get caught up in the moment, we store everything up here more so. I mean, if we do, it might be a snippet, it might be a short on here, something like that. But you're not going to actually, really truly see like start to end the calling. If you guys want to see that, let us know in the comments. We'll gladly try and, get something set up to where we can do that. But my kids are both probably my son shot his first turkey last year, already talking about doing it again this year for 2025. My daughter is talking about wanting to do it. With Iowa legalizing the 410 a couple of years ago. Great thing to be able to get the kids into. We shoot turkey. We shot turkeys last year and the year before. Last year, our buddy Jordan has shot 2 turkeys with a 410. 2 of them over 50 yards, and not a problem. Not a problem. You're not picking out BBs, none of that. Puts them down hard. If you want to see proof of it, most of the turkeys hunts that are on Retopia Outdoors YouTube channel, Retopia Outdoors, every turkey was shot with a 410, and I was the only one that had them at the time, and it was my 410. Shooting 8 and 9 mix TSS loads out of the single shot Stevens 410 with a red dot scope.
Well, we're almost up on this one.
Yep. So, like I said, if you guys want to, be chosen to have your choice in molds or
Not
jigs.
molds. I'm not giving away molds.
Oh, okay. soft
soft
baits, whatever, jigs.
I'll
jig
just make
heads,
up a couple packages of
like
them.
a variety
Yeah.
pack to, and if you like them, you can hit him up on Facebook and he'll sit there and say, hey, what do you want? Tell him what you want. He'll be able to do it. Like I said, he's got everything to be able to do it. You saw when they turned it. So, like
I'll
I said,
let you know if I have it.
yeah,
So
and he's always constantly getting ones in because just with
Yeah.
his connections.
mhm.
So, like I said, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the little notification deal, whatever. We're gonna try and post weekly since deer season is over, and
And if I'm not here, then it's just him.
there might be a couple times where it might be just me.
And have your boy on.
If he wants to, yep. So, but otherwise, like I said, do all that, notifications, comments, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one, and we'll be talking about something different, something new, and just gonna continue it on. Hopefully we're definitely gonna end up doing a little bit better with this for you guys.
Yep.
So sorry for the lapse, but family got in the way,
Yep. Hunting
But-
got in the way.
mainly hunting.
Yep.
So
All
but
right.
we're gonna do better.
See ya. You can't see me, but bye.